The mining station on Kepler 442b was supposed to be empty. Lyrelei had checked the scanners 3 times before landing her damaged escape pod. The old human facility had been abandoned for 20 years according to the star charts. Perfect for someone who needed to hide. Lyrelei limped through the rusty corridors with her 3 dragon companions flying beside her. Star Whisper kept watch ahead while Shadow Dance checked behind them. Moonglow stayed close to her shoulder, singing soft melodies that helped ease the pain in her ribs. The Void Hunters had attacked her ship near the Orion Belt and she barely escaped with her life. The elf woman found the medical bay and started treating her wounds. Her silver hair was matted with purple blood, and her pointed ears still rang from the explosions. She had been running for 7 cycles now. 7 long years since the Void Hunters destroyed her homeworld and began hunting every elf in the galaxy. She was the last one, the final survivor of a race that had lived for 10,000 years. The dragons helped her search for supplies. Star Whisper found water packets in a storage room. Shadow Dance discovered emergency rations that were still sealed. Moonglow located blankets and a working heater. They were small creatures, each no bigger than a house cat, but they were clever and loyal. They had been with her since before the genocide, when life was peaceful and elves still danced under the stars of Etheria. Lyrelei set up camp in the station control room. It had thick walls and multiple exits if she needed to run. The windows showed the red desert outside and the orange sky that never turned fully dark. She activated the old communication array not to send messages, but to listen. Anyone broadcasting would give away their position, but she could monitor traffic and know if danger approached. For 3 days she rested and healed. The dragons hunted small desert creatures and brought them back to share. Lyrelei used her remaining magic to purify water from the atmosphere and grow a few edible plants in the hydroponic garden. The station generators still worked, giving her light and heat. On the 4th day, everything changed. Star Whisper suddenly hissed and pressed himself against the window. His midnight scales bristled with fear. Shadow Dance vanished into the air vents while Moonglow trembled on Lyrelei's shoulder. The elf woman grabbed her plasma rifle and checked the scanner. 12 Void Hunter ships descended. From orbit they had found her again. Somehow they always did. The Void Hunters were relentless in their mission to wipe out all elder races. They believed younger species should rule the galaxy, and that ancient races like the elves held back progress. It was genocide dressed up as revolution. Lyrelei ran to the emergency bunker deep underground. The dragons followed her through the maintenance tunnels. She could hear the Void Hunter dropships landing outside their engines, shaking dust from the ceiling. They would search every room, scan every corner, and they would find her. They always did. The bunker door was 3 feet of solid steel, but it would not stop them for long. Lyrelei checked her weapon. 1 power cell left. Maybe enough for 10 shots. The Void Hunters wore thick armor that could absorb most energy weapons. She would need to aim for the joints or the neck. The dragons huddled around her. Star Whisper's eyes glowed with defensive fury. Shadow Dance flickered in and out of visibility. Preparing to strike, Moonglow sang a battle hymn from the old days when elf warriors rode great dragons into battle. But these 3 were too small to fight Void Hunters. They were pets, not war beasts. Heavy footsteps echoed above them. The Void Hunters were inside the station. Lyrelei could hear them speaking in their harsh language, calling out threats and promises. They said they would make her death quick if she surrendered. They lied. Every elf they caught died slowly. The bunker door began to glow red plasma cutters. They would be through in minutes. Lyrelei kissed each dragon on the head and whispered goodbye in the old tongue. She stood and raised her rifle, ready to die, fighting like her ancestors. At least she would not die alone. Her dragon friends would be with her until the end. The door exploded inward. 4 Void Hunter warriors entered the bunker. They were 8 feet tall with 4 arms each. Their black armor reflected no light, and their faces were hidden behind skull-shaped helmets. They carried plasma blades that hummed with deadly energy. Lyrelei fired 3 shots, taking down 1 warrior before the others rushed her. A blade caught her shoulder, spinning her around. Another struck her leg, dropping her to the floor. She tried to raise her rifle, but a heavy boot kicked it away. The lead Void Hunter stood over her. Its translator crackled to life. You are the last elf female. Your death completes our great work. The galaxy will finally be free. Of the elder races, Lyra lay, spat purple blood at its feet. Then finish it. The warrior raised its blade. The dragons attacked together, trying to protect her, but the void hunters swatted them away like insects. Star Whisper hit the wall hard and stopped moving. Shadow Dance cried out as armored fingers caught her wing. Moonglow tried to breathe fire but only managed small sparks. This was the end. The last elf would die in a rusty bunker on a forgotten world. Then the entire station shook. Something had hit them from orbit. The Void hunters looked up in confusion as dust rained from the ceiling. Another impact and another. The bombardment was precise, hitting only certain sections of the station. A new voice echoed through the bunker speakers. This is Captain Kate Morrison, of the Earth Defense Force. You are attacking a human facility. Release your prisoner and surrender, or we will destroy you. The Void. Hunters laughed. The lead Void. Hunter activated his communicator and spoke to the human ship. Humans are nothing. You barely learned space travel 50 years ago. Leave now, or be destroyed. Captain Kate Morrison's voice came back, calm and steady. That facility is human. Property built by the Mars Mining Corporation. You are trespassing and committing assault. You have 30 seconds to comply. The Void Hunters found this amusing. Their leader turned back to Lyra. Let the humans watch as we complete our mission. They will learn to fear us. He raised his blade again. The bunker wall exploded, but not from orbital fire. Something had punched through 3 feet of concrete like it was paper. A human in powered armor stepped through the hole. The armor was not sleek or beautiful like elf technology. It was brutal and functional, painted desert tan and covered in weapons. The human moved faster than should have been possible. The armor enhanced their strength and speed. A massive fist connected with the lead Void, Hunter sending him flying across the room. Another human entered, then another. Soon 6 armored humans filled the bunker. The Void Hunters recovered quickly and attacked. Their plasma blades met human combat knives that somehow did not melt. Their energy shields flickered against solid projectiles that punched through anyway. The humans fought differently than any species Lyra had seen. They did not dance or dodge. They walked forward, taking hits that would kill others, and kept fighting. One human lost an arm to a plasma blade. The suit sealed the wound, and the soldier kept fighting with one hand. A Void Hunter broke another human's leg. The soldier dropped to one knee and kept shooting. The humans felt pain, but ignored it. They had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. Pain was just information. The fight lasted 2 minutes. When it ended, all 4 Void Hunters were dead. The lead human removed her helmet, revealing a scarred face with short brown hair. Kate Morrison looked younger than Lyra expected, maybe 30 human years. Her green eyes were hard but kind. She knelt beside the wounded elf medical team. Now Kate ordered into her radio. She looked at Lyra. We tracked these jerks from Jupiter. They hit one of our colonies, so we followed. You okay? Lyra could not speak. She had never seen anyone fight Void Hunters and win. The humans had made it look easy. Kate helped her sit up while medics rushed in with equipment. Lyra noticed them carefully collecting. Her 3 dragons, Star Whisper, was unconscious, but breathing. Shadow Dance's wing was broken. Moonglow had burns on her white scales. Please help them. Lyra whispered. They are all I have left. Kate nodded to the medics. Treat the dragons too. Full medical priority? A medic looked confused. Captain, those are animals. Kate's voice turned to Steel Soldier. That is an order. These dragons are crew now. The medics worked quickly, using gel packs and healing foam on everyone. Human medical technology was primitive compared to elf healing crystals, but it worked. They stabilized Lyra's wounds and sedated the dragons for transport as they carried her to the human ship. Lyra saw the aftermath of the fight. The human destroyer in orbit had obliterated the Void Hunter ships with kinetic weapons, simple mass drivers that fired metal slugs at incredible speed. No shields could stop pure physics. The human ship was ugly by elf standards, a gray brick covered in guns and armor, but it was solid and strong, like the humans themselves. The medical bay was clean and efficient. Lyrelay found herself in a bed with her 3 dragons in special heated containers beside her. Kate visited her after the doctors finished. "You are the elf survivor we heard about." The last one, Lyrelay nodded. "How did you know we have friends?" Kate said a trading post near Vega told us about you. Said the Void Hunters were chasing the last elf across the galaxy. We figured anyone they wanted dead that badly was worth protecting, but why risk your ship and crew for me?" Kate sat on the edge of the bed. "Humans have a history, Miss Lyrelay. We know what genocide looks like. We have done it to ourselves more times than we want to remember. Maybe that is why we cannot stand by and watch. It happened to others." The door opened and 3 more humans entered. 2 men and a woman. They wore medical uniforms and carried equipment. One man named Dr. Tony White checked on the dragons while speaking softly to them. The woman, Dr. Lisa Park, ran more scans on Lyrelay. The second man, Nurse Jamie Cole, brought food and water. "Your dragons will be fine." Dr. White said, "Star Whisper has a concussion, but will recover. Shadow Dance needs surgery on that wing, but we can fix it. Moonglow just needs rest and food." Lyrelay felt tears run down her face. She had not cried since her world burned, but the simple kindness of these humans broke something inside her. They were treating her pets with the same care they would give their own people. Kate squeezed her shoulder gently. "Let it out. You have been running alone for too long." The elf woman sobbed for an hour. The humans stayed with her, offering tissues and water, but mostly just being present. When she finally stopped, she felt empty, but somehow lighter. "Where will you take me?" Lyrelay asked. Kate smiled. "Earth if you want, or any human colony. We have 15 worlds now and growing. You are welcome anywhere. The Void Hunters will follow. They always do. Let them." Kate's grin turned predatory. Humans love a good fight. Especially when protecting friends. Lyrelay studied the captain's face. "You are not afraid of them." Kate laughed. "Afraid? Those idiots use energy weapons and hover tanks. We use kinetic weapons and tracked vehicles that work in any environment. They rely on shields, we rely on armor. They fight for ideology. We fight for survival and each other. Trust me, the Void Hunters just started a war with the wrong species." A communication alert sounded. Kate answered it and her face grew serious. She turned to Lyrelay. "We intercepted a Void Hunter transmission. They are calling for their entire 3rd Fleet, 200 ships. They plan to attack. Earth." Lyrelay went pale. "That is enough to destroy your world." Kate stood and called to her. "Bridge attention, all hands, battle stations, alert the fleet and recall all shore leave." She looked back at Lyrelay. Time to show the galaxy what humans can do. The ship's engines roared to life as they turned toward Earth. The journey to Earth took 6 days through hyperspace. Lyrelay spent the time learning about humans while recovering in the medical bay. Her dragons healed quickly under Dr. White's care. Star Whisper was alert again. Shadow Dance could glide. Short distances and Moonglow had regained her musical voice. Kate visited every day bringing food and stories. She told Lyrelay about Earth's history, the wars and peace, the art and science. The way humans had nearly destroyed themselves with nuclear weapons, then united to reach the stars. Kate also brought other crew members who shared their own tales. Lieutenant Maria Santos taught Lyrelay human card games and always let the dragons play too. Sergeant John Murphy brought his guitar and played old Earth songs that made Moonglow dance. Engineer Ashley Brown showed videos of Earth cities and forests. The entire crew had adopted Lyrelay and her dragons as family. On the 5th day, Kate brought news that changed everything. "We received a transmission from the Void Hunter fleet," Kate said. "They demand we surrender you or they will glass Earth." Lyrelay stood immediately. "I will go. I cannot let your world burn for me." Kate grabbed her shoulders. "No one is going anywhere. We do not surrender refugees. Plus, we already have a plan." "What plan can stop 200 ships?" Lyrelay asked. Kate grinned. "Humans are very good at war. We have been practicing on each other for thousands of years. Now we get to use those skills to protect someone. They dropped out of hyperspace near Mars. The red planet was surrounded by human ships, not just military vessels, but cargo haulers retrofitted with weapons, mining ships with drill lasers, passenger liners covered in armor plates. 300 human ships of every size and shape. Kate led Lyrelei to the bridge where she could see the full fleet. Earth's moon bristled with defensive platforms. The planet itself was wrapped in a grid of satellites, each one armed with railguns. Humans had turned their entire system into a fortress. Admiral Patricia Stone appeared on the main screen, an older woman with steel gray hair and eyes like winter. All ships, this is Stone. The Void. Hunters want us to hand over a refugee. A survivor of genocide. They think we will. Break. Never. The entire bridge crew shouted. Admiral Stone smiled. Then let us show them what humans do to bullies. Morrison, your ship has point defense for the refugee. Keep her safe, Lyrelei. Watch the tactical display as human ships moved into formation. They did not form elegant patterns like elf fleets or rigid lines like Void Hunter armadas. They spread out in seemingly random positions that Kate called wolf pack formation. The Void Hunter fleet arrived 2 hours later. 200 sleek black ships dropped from hyperspace in perfect formation. Their leader broadcast to the entire system. Humans, you harbor the last criminal of the elder races. Surrender her or face extinction. Admiral Stone responded by broadcasting on all frequencies. This is Earth. We protect those who seek shelter. We defend those who cannot defend themselves. You want her, come and take her. The Void. Hunters attacked. Energy beams and plasma bolts filled space, burning toward the human fleet. But the humans had spread out too far. The Void Hunter weapons designed for close formation battles could not track so many scattered targets. Human ships jinked and weaved, trading speed for unpredictability. Then the humans fired back. Railguns launched tungsten rods at percentages of light speed. Missile swarms erupted from cargo bays. Nuclear mines activated in the Void Hunter's path. The mining ships used their drill lasers to slice through shields. The passenger liners rammed smaller Void Hunter vessels, their reinforced hulls crushing alien armor. It was chaos, and humans thrived in chaos. Lyrelei watched a cargo hauler named Lucky Strike take 3 direct hits that tore open its hull. The crew sealed the breaches with emergency foam and kept fighting. A mining ship called Rockbreaker lost its engines but used maneuvering thrusters to spin wildly, firing in all directions. An old colony ship named Hope's Dream actually grappled a Void Hunter destroyer and detonated its reactor, taking both ships down. The Void Hunters had better technology, but humans had something else. Spite, pure stubborn refusal to give up. Kate's ship, the Resilience, dove through the battle like a hawk. Small and fast, they targeted Void Hunter command ships. Kate called out targets while her crew executed impossible maneuvers. The ship's doctor was manning a gun turret. The cook was loading missiles. Everyone fought. A Void Hunter battleship targeted them. Its main gun could vaporize the Resilience in one shot. The weapon charged, glowing. Bright purple. Hold steady, Kate ordered. Wait for it, Captain, that will kill us, someone shouted. Trust me, Kate said. The Void Hunter fired. Kate slammed the controls, spinning the ship. The beam missed by meters, heating the hull until it glowed. But the dodge had lined them up perfectly. The Resilience fired everything, missiles, railguns, even the mining laser they had installed last minute. The battleship's bridge exploded. Around them, the battle turned void. Hunter ships burned and broke apart. Human losses were heavy too, but for every human ship destroyed, its crew escaped in pods and were picked up by others. The humans kept fighting with damaged ships and wounded crews. They fought angry. The Void Hunter fleet commander broadcast again, "You fight without honor, without formation, without proper tactics." Admiral Stone laughed. Exactly. Welcome to human warfare. The moon bases opened fire. Mass drivers the size of buildings launched asteroids that had been prepared as ammunition. The Void Hunters had not expected humans to weaponize their own solar system. Lyrelei felt her dragons pressing against her. They sensed her emotions, her mix of fear and awe. These humans were insane, but their insanity was keeping her alive. 6 hours into the battle, 90 Void Hunter ships were destroyed. The rest tried to retreat but found human ships had deployed jump inhibitors made from old FTL drives. Trapped the void, hunters fought desperately, but the humans smelled blood. Then something unexpected happened. 17. More ships dropped from hyperspace, but they were not void hunters. They were different alien vessels. A Qatari dreadnought, a Valran carrier, 3 mixing trade ships, even an ancient progenitor probe. The Qatari commander spoke. "This is Grand Admiral. Dex, we heard Earth was making a stand against the void hunters. We come to help." More ships arrived every minute. Species the void hunters had threatened or attacked over the years. They had all heard the same thing. Humans were fighting back and winning. The void hunter fleet was surrounded. Their commander made one last broadcast. "This is impossible. You are primitive species. You cannot defeat us." Kate opened a channel to respond. "Hey, jackass. You forgot something important. Humans make friends, and we really hate bullies." The combined fleet attacked from all sides. The battle became a slaughter. When the last void hunter ship exploded, the Alliance fleet cheered in 100 languages. Lirelai collapsed in relief, her dragons chirping victoriously. Around her, Earth was safe, she was safe, and the galaxy had learned something new about humans. The victory celebration lasted 3 days. Every human world sent congratulations. Earth opened its doors to all the allied species who had come to help. The space around the planet filled with ships of every design as the galaxy came to meet the humans who had stood against the void. Hunter's Lirelai found herself overwhelmed by it all. She had spent 7 years alone, and suddenly she was surrounded by thousands. Kate assigned her quarters on Earth's orbital station where she could adjust. Slowly. Her dragons loved the zero-gravity sections where they could fly freely without working their small wings too hard. On the second day, Kate brought someone special to meet her. "This is Professor Nancy Hill," Kate said. "She studies xenobiology and ancient cultures. She wants to learn about your people." Nancy was an older human with kind eyes and gentle hands. She sat with Lirelai for hours recording stories about elf civilization. She asked about their art, their music, their magic. She wanted to preserve everything. "Your culture will not die," Nancy promised. "We have a saying on Earth, knowledge is immortal. As long as someone remembers your people, live on." Lirelai taught Nancy basic elf magic, showing her how to draw energy from starlight and shape it into simple forms humans could not use magic well. But Nancy managed to create a small light that danced on her palm. The professor laughed like a child seeing snow for the first time. The dragons became celebrities on the station star. Whisper loved the attention posing for pictures with human children. Shadow Dance played hide-and-seek in the air vents, making kids squeal with delight. Moonglow sang for crowds in the observation dome, her voice harmonizing with human musicians, who joined her on the 4th day. Admiral Stone visited Lirelai personally. "The Galactic Council wants to meet you," Admiral Stone said. "You are important to more than just humans. The Void Hunters attacked many Elder Race survivors. You might not be as alone as you think." Lirelai's heart jumped. "Other elves survived. Not elves," Stone admitted, "but others like you, last members of their species. The Council is gathering them on a sanctuary world under joint protection." Kate added, "You do not have to go. But if you want to, we will take you there." Lirelai thought about it for days. Part of her wanted to meet other survivors who understood her loss. But Earth had started to feel like home. The humans had bled for her, fought for her, and welcomed her. "Want to visit?" Lirelai finally decided. "But I want to come back here." Kate hugged her. "Of course, Earth is your home now. For as long as you want." The journey to the sanctuary world took 2 weeks. The human destroyer, Resilience, served as escort along, with ships from 6 other species. The Void Hunters had retreated to their home systems, but everyone stayed alert. The sanctuary world was called Haven in human language. It orbited a yellow star in neutral space, protected by the combined fleets of 12 species. The planet itself was beautiful, with purple grass and silver trees that reminded Lirelai of her dead homeworld. 300 survivors lived there, the last of their kinds. A single Alteran male whose crystalline body sang when he moved, 2 Nexari females who could phase through solid matter. An ancient Draconi who remembered when the galaxy was young. Each had a story of loss and survival. The Council had built separate habitats for each species, trying to recreate their dead worlds. But the survivors rarely stayed in them. They gathered in the common areas, sharing meals and stories. They had formed a family of the lost. A Zephyrin named Quill approached Lyralee first. His species had been master builders creating structures that defied physics. He was covered in blue fur and had 6 arms that moved independently. "You are the elf who the humans saved," Quill said. "I heard the story. The entire galaxy has heard how Earth stood against 200 ships for you." Lyralee nodded. "They are remarkable people." Quill made a sound like laughter. "They are insane, but good insane. My people would have liked them." Over the following days, Lyralee met each survivor and heard their tales. The Void Hunters had been systematic in their genocide, targeting any species older than 10,000 years. They believed elder races held back progress, that the galaxy needed fresh ideas and young species to thrive. But the survivors had noticed something the Void Hunters had not expected. The young species learned from them. Human scientists studied Alteran crystal technology. Ketari warriors trained with the last Draconi. Valran merchants preserved Nixari phase techniques. The knowledge survived, even if the species did not, on her last night. On Haven, the survivors held a ceremony. Each person shared one tradition from their people. Quill built an impossible tower that balanced on a single point. The Alterans sang a harmony that made the air shimmer. The Nixari danced through walls and floors like ghosts. When Lyralee's turn came, she called her dragons. They performed an ancient elf ritual where dragons and elves moved together in patterns that told stories. Star Whisper's darkness became the void between stars. Shadow Dance's invisibility became the hidden magic of the universe. Moonglow's white light became the hope that connects all living things. The other survivors wept openly. Many had not seen beauty from their dead cultures in years. The next morning, Lyralee prepared to leave, but Quill stopped her stay. He said, "We could rebuild here together. We could create something new." Lyralee looked at her dragons, then at the human ship waiting in orbit. "The humans need me, and I need them. They saved me. But more than that, they gave me purpose. I teach them about the old ways, and they teach me about hope." Quill nodded, understanding. "Then you will be our bridge. When we are ready to rejoin the galaxy, you will help us connect with the humans." Lyralee hugged the blue-furred builder. Goodbye, then boarded the Resilience. Kate was waiting with a smile and a cup of human coffee which Lyralee had learned to love. "Ready to go home?" Kate asked. "Yes," Lyralee said, watching Haven shrink in the viewport. Home, the journey back to Earth, was peaceful. Kate taught Lyralee human games called chess and poker. The crew shared their meals with her and the dragons. The ship felt alive with laughter and conversation. But halfway home they received an emergency transmission. "Captain Morrison, this is Colony 7. We are under attack, not Void Hunters. Something else. They came from dark space. They are taking people." Kate's face went hard. "Change course. Combat speed." She looked at Lyralee. "This is what humans do. We protect others." "Want to help?" Lyralee stood, with her dragons spreading their wings around her. "Yes, we fight together." Kate grinned and called to her crew. "You heard the elf. Battle stations, we have people to save." The Resilience turned toward Colony 7, its engines burning bright. Against the darkness of space, a human ship and an elf survivor raced toward a new threat. Colony 7 was silent when they arrived. The human settlement on the edge of known space should have had 30,000 people. The cities were empty. The farms were abandoned. Only automated systems still functioned, broadcasting their emergency signal into the void. Kate led an away team to the surface with Lyralee and her dragons. The streets were wrong. No bodies, no blood, no signs of struggle. Just emptiness, as if everyone had simply vanished. Star Whisper flew ahead. Searching Shadow Dance, checked buildings. Moonglow stayed close to Lyralee, trembling. Something had been here. The air tasted different, like metal and old fear. Lyralee's magic sensed an echo of terror that had soaked into the ground. Whatever took the colonists had made them afraid first. The dragons found the first clue. Star Whisper discovered strange marks on the walls, symbols that hurt to look at. They were not carved or painted, but somehow existed in the surface like shadows given form. I have seen these before. Lyrelay whispered ancient texts mentioned them. The devourers from outside reality. They feed on consciousness, on the spark that makes thinking beings alive. Kate radioed the ship. Get everyone armed and start scanning for dimensional anomalies. If these things exist outside normal space, we need to know how they move. They found more evidence in the colony command center. Security footage showed the attack. Black shapes flowing through walls, ignoring all barriers, people screaming then going silent as something was pulled from them. Their bodies did not die, they just stopped. Empty shells that breathed but would never think again. The colonial governor had left a final message. Her name was Helen Rogers, and she looked terrified in the recording. They came from the dark between stars. Helen said, "We tried to fight, but weapons did nothing. They want our minds, our souls, our essence. They said they have been sleeping for millions of years, and now they hunger. If anyone finds this, run far and fast." The recording ended with shadows filling the room and Helen's scream cutting off. Kate studied the data, then made a decision. We evacuate the surrounding colonies and set up a defensive line. These things want to feed on consciousness, so we deny them targets, but they will just follow. Lyrelay said they always hunger. That is their nature. Then we find a way to fight them. Kate's jaw set with determination. Humans do not run. We adapt. They returned to the resilience and began planning. Other human ships arrived within hours, then alien vessels who had heard the call. The shadow creatures had taken Colony 7, but the galaxy would not let them take more. Dr. Lisa Park worked with Lyrelay to understand the creatures. They were not truly alive in the normal sense. They existed in spaces between dimensions, only entering normal reality to feed. Magic could touch them when technology could not. But humans had very little magic. We need to think differently. Lisa said, "What if we combine elf magic with human technology?" It had never been tried before. Magic and technology were thought to be incompatible. But humans did not care about what was supposed to be impossible. They worked for 3 days straight. Lyrelay taught human engineers how to channel starlight into crystals. The humans built projectors that could amplify that energy. Moonglow sang to calibrate the frequencies while Star Whisper and Shadow Dance tested the weapons on the 4th day. The shadows returned. They flowed from dark space like oil given purpose. Hundreds of them spreading toward the inhabited worlds. The fleet opened fire with conventional weapons, but the shots passed through the creatures without effect. Then the hybrid weapons activated beams of crystallized starlight struck the shadows and they screamed. The sound echoed in dimensions humans could not perceive, but everyone felt it in their bones. The creatures had not expected resistance. They had fed on countless civilizations that could not fight back. But they had never met humans before. Kate coordinated the fleet like a conductor leading an orchestra. Human stubbornness combined with elf grace. Qatari strength supported Valran's speed. Every species brought something unique, and humans bound them all together with their relentless determination. The shadows adapted quickly. They learned to dodge the light beams and started attacking from multiple dimensions at once. Several ships lost crew members as shadows phased through. Their hulls, "We need more power," Lyrelay said. "The starlight is not enough." Kate thought for a moment, then smiled. "Humans have a saying, when in doubt, use a bigger hammer." She called engineering. "Prepare to detonate a star." Everyone on the bridge stared at her in shock. "Captain, that is insane." Someone said, "Exactly." Kate replied, "Look, there is a dying star, 2 light years away, already going nova. We just speed up the process and channel that energy through Lyrelay's crystals." It was the most human plan possible. Take an exploding star and turn it into a weapon. The fleet raced to the dying star while fighting a running battle with the shadows. More ships joined them every hour. The galaxy had united against this new threat. Humans led, but everyone followed because humans had proven they would die for others. Lyrelay and her dragons worked with the engineers to prepare the collector crystals. They would have seconds to capture the nova's energy and direct it at the shadows. If they failed, the fleet would be vaporized. The star was already unstable, its core collapsing and rebounding in the death throes that would birth a supernova. Kate ordered all ships to safe distance except the Resilience. "We stay close to guide the energy," Kate said. "Volunteers only." The entire crew stayed. No one left their posts. Lyrelay stood in the modified cargo bay surrounded by thousands of crystals, her dragons positioned at cardinal points. Star Whisper would channel darkness. Shadow Dance would provide invisibility to protect them. Moonglow would sing the harmony that bound it all together. The shadows sensed the trap and attacked desperately. Hundreds of them swarmed. The Resilience crew members fell as their consciousness was drained. But the humans kept working. Even as friends collapsed, they maintained their post-fire in the hole, Kate announced. The missiles struck the star's core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then reality screamed. The star exploded with the force of 1,000,000,000 suns. Lyrelay opened herself to the energy, letting it flow through her. Every crystal in the bay lit up like captured stars. The dragons sang in harmony, their small voices somehow containing infinite power. Lyrelay shaped the energy with methods her people had used to forge worlds. She wove starfire and void into a net of light that expanded faster than thought. The shadows tried to flee, but there was nowhere to go in any dimension. The nova-powered magic struck them and they dissolved. Not destroyed, but transformed. The energy that made them was returned to the universe, becoming part of the cosmic background again. They would reform eventually, in millions of years. But by then, the galaxy would be ready. When the light faded, the shadows were gone. Lyrelay collapsed, her body smoking from channeled energy. The dragons curled around her, chirping weakly. Kate carried her to medical while the fleet counted their losses. 117 ships damaged, 3,000 souls lost to the shadows, but Colony 7's people were found alive in a pocket dimension, their consciousness trapped but recoverable. The galaxy had survived because humans had led them in doing the impossible. Later, as Lyrelay recovered, she asked Kate, "Why do humans always choose the insane option?" Kate laughed. "Because the sane options are boring. Besides, it worked. The fleet returned to Earth as heroes. Every species sent representatives to thank humanity. But the humans just shrugged and said it was the right thing to do." Lyrelay stood before the Galactic Council with her dragons beside her. The last elf had become the bridge between the old and new. The elder races were mostly gone, but their knowledge lived on in the young species who would carry it forward, and at the center of it all were the humans. Crazy, brave, stubborn humans who would fight the universe itself to protect their friends. The Void Hunters sent a message requesting peace. They had learned that humans were not prey, but protectors. And when humans protected something, they did it with nuclear weapons and weaponized stars. Lyrelay made Earth her permanent home. She taught elf magic at the new academy Kate had helped establish. Her dragons became ambassadors of sorts, showing other species that humans could be trusted. 1 year later, Lyrelay stood in her garden on Earth watching her dragons play with human children. The kids laughed as Star Whisper made shadow puppets. Shadow Dance taught them to hide, and Moonglow sang them to sleep. Kate joined her, bringing coffee and sitting on the bench they had built together. "Any regrets?" Kate asked. Lyrelay smiled. "My people are gone, but their memory lives. These humans, your people, have given me something I thought lost forever. Hope and a family." Kate raised her coffee cup. To the future, Lyrelay agreed. "And to the humans who make it possible." Above them, stars shone in the Earth sky, each one a sun that might nurture life, and somewhere among them other survivors were learning what Lyrelay had learned.